everybody, Chad Roberts, RPGGeek. We are coming at you once again at our annual Gen Con RPG block. So it has been my my hunt to get our next guest on. I've tried to poke him, I don't know, 3-4 years in a row, and finally we have Mr. Robert Schwab on the stream with us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, man, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Yes, it is. Side note, Rob and I live in the same town, but because of global conditions, we have not seen each other in quite a while. So
we've been fighting over cans of beets, and so you've got the one side of Murfreesboro, I have the other.
Exactly.
Conflict and war, it is.
So what we'll do, Rob, is for those of you who don't know Rob Schwab, author, game designer, writer for RPG related materials. Did I miss anything?
Occasional drinker, metalhead, angry guy, cat owner.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the stuff you may have seen him out as he was the author of Shadow of the Demon Lord from Schwab Entertainment that you started.
Right.
It has been very successful, gone into a number of languages, and you can find that through however you procure your games, whether it be local, online, what have you. But we're talking about a new project today, and Rob sent me some art for this. Let me go ahead and share this because this looks phenomenal.
It's the first time the public has seen this.
Let me see. Is that working?
That's it. So that is, kids at home, that is the cover for my new game, Shadow of the Mad Wizard. Cover art.
Okay, so tell us about this, Rob. What is Shadow of the Mad Wizard?
Okay, so Shadow of the Demon. To talk about Shadow of the Mad Wizard, you also have to talk about a little bit about Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Right.
Shadow of the Demon Lord was the first thing I wanted to release from my imprint after leaving Wizards of the Coast. I had just completed my work on 5th edition D&D and was looking for my next big project, and so I decided to tackle a role-playing game. And Shadow of the Demon Lord is a lot like if you were going to translate tabletop RPGs into metal, it is the Cannibal Corpse of tabletop RPGs. And with that in mind, it's good. It's got an audience, but it's not for everybody. So in thinking about the game and selling the game for almost 5 years, I have been working in secret to create a role-playing game that has a little bit that can be played by everybody, not just gray-bearded metalheads like myself, but with kids and casual fans and everybody all across the board. So Shadow of the Mad Wizard is a tabletop fantasy role-playing game with an injection of of some technology and steam technology and firearms and weird magic. The game is focused largely on exploration, and that's because the old country is in flames, and so civilization has fallen apart and has mass migrated into the new lands, or rather the lands of the Mad Wizard himself. The Mad Wizard is a spooky fella who has a giant empty city that is populated, well, only empty in the sense that it's populated by clockworks. And so settlements are just starting up. There are no kingdoms yet. It's just almost a blank canvas. So it's going to be most of the game is about played through exploration, fighting strange monsters, unearthing weird, cool treasures, and also figuring out what happened to the Mad Wizard who has since vanished from these lands.
Yep. So that is flipping awesome because that whole exploration thing is just it's what really draws you in, especially when I was looking at this art. You know, you've got, it looks like even some non-traditional. It's like, I don't know, is that a Yeti or what is this thing?
That is an ogre of the Mad Wizard. So ogres are player character ancestries, and the one to the next to it, the dragonette, is also an ancestry, and you'll see there's a clockwork next to the dragonette. So you have a mix of traditional. So you have a human priest of the high one, and then you have an elf archer type character. But then you've got these other interesting characters in the back to give you a lot more versatility in your character choices. The game currently, the draft has 20 different ancestries, some familiar, some new. So it should be. So if you want to play a fallen angel, that's not like satanic, but fallen angel, you can do that. If you want to play a vampire, you can do that. If you want to play a standard kind of campaign of halflings, dwarves, elves, gnomes, it's also in the game as well.
And so as that's cool because gnomes I think are like my second favorite character. But anyway, when you first showed me this before the show, I was just blown away. I think I showed it to Aldi, and Aldi thought it was pretty impressive. So, and that's also like Shadow of the Demon Lord, just full of evocative art. So let's talk about this art for a minute, because this is a great piece of art unto itself. And is this going to carry all through the book and all through the series? What are your what are your overarching plans for this? I mean,
one of the things that this particular piece was illustrated by Matteo Spirito. He's an Italian artist I met at Lucca 2 years ago. I guess it's been 2 years. It's hard to believe. And he does a lot of fantastic work for us. We'll see the same quality of art that people have come to expect in Shadow of the Demon Lord will also appear throughout Mad Wizard.
right.
These will be full color products, a mixture of physical releases and with heavy support from the digital side.
Gotcha. Because it just looks phenomenal. And then for those who may not have seen Shadow of the Demon Lord, is this or some people who are fans of Demon Lord? Let's talk about the number side. Is this going to have a very similar engine to how the mechanics work?
It
or
is.
Are you going
It
with
is.
a totally new engine?
No, it's an evolution of the Demon Lord game system. So people who play Demon Lord will be able to migrate to this just fine. You'll still have boons and banes. You're still looking for target numbers of 10 or the score used to resist. Still has a health score. This game unlike Punk Apocalyptic, my other tabletop RPG released this year or end of last year. This one goes back, preserves the 4 attributes. Character advancement develops through path choices. So it bundles interesting talents and abilities in larger packages so that you're not hunting through a lot of little things, but rather you're looking for the big ideas. Those big ideas then trickle into the things your character gets to do.
So this isn't going to be nuanced in like 38 different stats or anything like that?
No. This game does, instead of, as I said, there are some differences. The same technology that powers fast, slow turn concepts in Shadow of the Demon Lord lives here, although it's presented a little bit differently to make it more accessible and to the audience. Even though I think fast, slow turns are pretty straightforward. And then it's stat blocks for monsters are pretty simple to use. And again, you're using a D20 based system, but there are enough differences from other D20 based games that it stands alone just fine. But it does mean that if you know how to pick up a D20 and throw it at the table and read the dice on the number on the die, you should be able to play this game just fine.
Oh, that's perfect. So let's talk about, now that we've talked about the art, we talked about the visual look, we've just got done talking about how the game will play. I did some research on this, and there's not a whole lot of data out there on the internet around this.
Right.
So if people are watching this live right now on the internets, or they may be watching a replay of this later, and they want to find out more information about this, where can they find it?
The best place to go would be schwalbentertainment.com. That's going to be the home for all things Shadow of the Demon Lord, Punk Apocalyptic, and also Shadow of the Mad Wizard. I also have a fairly strong presence on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter as Schwalb Entertainment. And we'll be posting regular updates. In the next couple of months, I'll be starting a series of either video blogs or actual blogs where I talk about the design process, and probably do some Facebook Live sessions of that as well. We'll be showing some play test and then also concept art as we're getting closer to the Kickstarter launch.
Okay, and we did get a question here from chat, and let me go ahead over here. And so it said the art here, is this from somebody that may be widely known or recognizable?
It's Matteo Spirito. He has done a ton of work for me, also for Monte Cook Games. He does a lot of stuff for and so on. He's fairly well known in Italy, and he's breaking into the American market fairly quickly, I guess. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and this is definitely gonna. When you take a look at this, I just can't get over this. It's just how it looks. It looks fun. It has a very strong presence. Like it would have a very strong shelf presence for a cover. But yeah, and then it doesn't look like we have any other questions from chat. So what we'll do is you've talked about how to get a hold of this. So you've also got Punk Apocalyptic. You've worked on that. So that's another product that's been pretty recently. You started working on that. And
we did a Kickstarter for that last year. Towards the end of last year, we funded just fine. The product has come out in PDF form. Our printer shut down. And its printer's based in Texas, so there's been a lot of ups and downs about when that's going to actually hit retail. But they have half my money, so I'm guessing that it will be along some point. We have a few more products we're going to do for that. We'll be looking ahead to the future. Punk Apocalyptic also used the Shadow of the Demon Lord engine, but modified to match the tone and mood of the super irreverent miniatures game, the same name.
Okay. And another question from the chat. So, is the from a frequent beef question? Is the system fully compatible with Shadow of the Demon Lord, or is it just set up similarly?
It is, I would say, 80% compatible. There are changes in how Magic System works, and that largely I justify that as that this is a different world. There will be paths will have different talents, but the gameplay is very similar. One of the things too about that change with Mad Wizard versus Demon Lord is that Demon Lord is a horror fantasy role-playing game. Mm-hmm. So the stakes are higher and the challenge is probably greater, where Shadow of the Mad Wizard posits that the characters are heroes and they are not in a situation where they're fighting for their lives, but rather going out and going on grand adventures. So it's one of tone, so the mechanics have to kind of reflect that as well to be a little bit more favorable to player characters. One example on how things are different, characters in Mad Wizard just heal every hour when they rest. They just heal they remove a certain amount of damage every hour they rest. Whereas in Demon Lord, you can only recover damage either through magic or spending a whole night resting. So these are kind of some of the differences we have between those two.
Gotcha. And Eric Martin is taking more questions from the chat here. Let's see if he has anything. But yeah, so that being said, what we've talked about, some of the stuff you have worked on, what you're working on right now. For fans of Schwab Entertainment, can you sort of just give us a sneak peek of what is coming up on the radar? What are you working on now that we may see maybe now between now and Christmas, maybe now next spring?
Sure. We have a fairly aggressive set of releases that'll be coming out through drive-through and also our site. Most of these will be PDF only releases as we're building towards Mad Wizard. Some of these will include a short piece on the Hell Tithe, when fairies offer up mortal children to pay off their debt to the devil. So that's a deeply alarming book or a short PDF. Mm-hmm. We also have of Gears and of Cogs and Gears, something like that, which is set in a secret society based in the City of Wonder. They've got all sorts of sinister things there. It's a good cult supplement to give you a new villain. We also have we're going back to the Northern Reach, which is the default setting for Shadow of the Demon Lord, and doing a deep dive in that to kind of wrap up the Lands of Shadow series. I expect to have the Scrap Bridge Gazetteer, the Scumbag's Guide to Scrap Bridge for Punk Apocalyptic. That'll be coming out later this year too. And then we also have a big 11 mission campaign book coming out for Punk Apocalyptic.
And then another question is the Mad Wizard product. When will consumers start being able to look for the stuff in that product line?
We should be taking this to Kickstarter if everything goes awesome. Probably by November or December for Kickstarter. We should see the first products released for it middle of next year. If everything goes, I mean, this all depends on if, aliens don't invade, or there's a giant crack in the earth that opens up, or Yellowstone doesn't explode. anything else that could go wrong in this year, assuming that nothing else gets worse, we should be okay.
Yep, and we'll take one more question that was just sent over. Tabletop Bellhop. Oh, that's Mo Togason. How's everything in Canada, by the way? That is a lot of new content in what's been a slow year for many publishers. So that's been sort of your motto, that as long as I've known you, is you don't sit around very much. You're always pressing. And especially now when the world's gone topsy-turvy. Like, is that just because you have one of those mindsets where you need to be working on something all the time, or is that just you're just that creative in nature?
It's not good for my blood pressure, but I just have enough OCD to keep me going, so that I have to work a certain amount every day, and so I'm able to produce at a pretty good clip. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I also don't. I'm always part of the thing about working in this business is that it always feel like you're walking on a precipice of failure, and so keeping active and keeping a steady stream of new and entertaining content out for the audience hopefully will maintain my relevance in the field. So
I think you'll always be relevant. That's just me.
We'll see.
Rob, thank you so much for finally coming on the show.
Oh yeah,
it's not be a stranger. Do not be a stranger, and you can come back on sometime. But everybody, this is Chad Roberts from RPGGeek. Once again, Rob Schwab, everybody. Thank you for coming on. And this is us wrapping up from RPGGeek here at Virtual Gen Con 2020. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.